Hello. Welcome to the very first walking session podcast. As Miller here. I am so excited to be in this space. If you've been around my work for a while, you know I've done podcasting before. I've taken a little break, but I couldn't stay away for too long. I just want to preface this by saying that this podcast is focused on my clients, whether you're a new client, a previous client, whoever, not a client at all, just like to check in and tune into your mental health and a bit of motivation, then this one's for you. Obviously, this is not therapy. I hope I can say that. So take all the things that I say with a grain of salt. If it fits, take it on. If it doesn't fit, throw it out. You are the expert on you. I am not. I will always say that, and I stand by that. So let's just jump straight in, hey? I kind of created this space, or wanted to get back to podcasting, because as we are currently in the 2024 climate, things are getting a bit tough on people. Some people cannot afford to see a psychologist. Some people can find the time to see a psychologist, whether it is because they're working so much or because they're so thinly stretched. So I guess this is for you. This is who I wanted to create this space for. If there's a particular topic or question that you have, or maybe even a situation that you've got going on that you want me to address, please send an email to admin@walkingsession.com.au. I'm going to also include all my social media links. Obviously, one is Walking Session. That's probably the easiest one to go to, or Marietta Miller. I'll chuck them both in there. But you can also send me a voicemail, and maybe I can play it in here somehow if I work out how to do that stuff. I'm not a techie person, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. So that, I can help you. I'm here to help. So what I did do on my social media is I chucked up a couple of question boxes over time, and one of them was basically asking what I could help with. What are some things that if you could ask me anything, what would you want me to get back to you on? And I have chosen one for today that is about finding any kind of me time. So it was asked by a mum that has a lot going on, and she's essentially struggling with this whole finding me time thing. And I wanted to choose that one because it's very close to my heart. I'm in the trenches with you, sis. So let's address that one first. There's a few things I want you to take into account. The very first thing that I want you to think about is the fact that me time looks different in every season. Me time with a newborn looks different to me time with a toddler, looks different to a me time with a school-age child, looks different to me time with a teenager, right? So, even within all of those gaps there in age that I've mentioned, they're pretty big as well. Me time can look different from month to month, from week to week, depending on what happens in the chaos of a family life. Thing like this, the simple adjustment to managing so many people in your household. Like if you think about it, when you go from being single into a couple, you're like, oh, this is another life to take into account into my schedule. Wow, that's a lot. That's how I felt anyway. It's a lot. Let's sort of settle into that. And then each time you have another child, it's not just having a child, it's having a whole little person with a whole little life of their own and all of their needs. So finding me time can be hard, especially if you don't have a big village around you that helps with all of those things. And let's be real, mums are more isolated than we've ever been. Mums are expected to do more than we ever have. I was chatting to my own mum about this, and I 100% appreciate how much she had to do, and she did. She had a lot on herself as a mum, so it's not even like a who had it harder situation. But I do feel like we've got some physical, physical things are easier, right? I'm not hand washing my clothes. I'm not washing nappies, although some people choose to, don't they? I'm not that one. So physically, I feel like things are easier, but then in terms of emotional support, it is much harder. Lots of our parents are still working, so they can only help so much. We're not living close to each other. And yeah, mums are expected to do it all themselves. So that lack of village stuff is harder in those ways. you know what? I was just thinking about it and I'm like, I reckon every mum, even in each generation, would have a different story. I'm saying that as a blanket rule, but I bet my mum's journey compared to another mum's journey was so different based on where they lived, how they lived, what they did. So all this to say is that you need to make it uniquely yours, and every person listening will have a different situation. Some of you will have children in daycare, some of you won't, some of you will want support from your family or have that available, some of us don't. It's just so different for everyone, you know. Some of you are single mamas, which is a whole nother thing, right? Like, it's just every journey is different. But let's go back to you and your me time. So what I know is, for me time at the lowest, like, let's go to the hardest of the hardest trenches in your life. And by the way, this question came from a mum. You might not be a mum. You might be someone working 3 jobs to get by, or whatever it is that you're doing where you're squeezed for time. So I know in my hardest seasons, when my babies were littlest, me time looked like a shower. Me time looked like brushing my teeth. Me time looked like making a cup of coffee, but actually making it without doing another 10 things at the same time. So I always carved out, now again caveat, carved out me time in the morning. Like, I love a morning coffee, and I will be on bare minimum catering to anyone's needs at that time. That usually takes me about half an hour, I reckon, to sip through before that time's interrupted. But that is the time for me in the morning where I'm woken up. I don't wake up, my children wake me up. And I'm like, before I give anything to anyone else, I will give back to me. Obviously, if you're having a baby, that didn't work because I couldn't have bloody coffee. So it was a cup of tea. And it meant that I had to breastfeed first because baby was screaming to be fed. So see how it looks all different in different seasons. But I was always mindful of starting my day with some kind of room for myself. And I don't mean I didn't have the option of having my husband around in the mornings. He's into triathlons, which meant that 99% of the time he's not there in the morning. I think on Sundays usually he's there, but that's about it. Every morning he's out of bed and gone by 4 or 5 in the morning, which means that the morning and the kids are all on me. But even with them around, I gave myself grace, or still do, to ease into my morning. And yes, I would put the TV on, kill me, because I just wanted half an hour of me time to give to myself before giving to anyone else. As my second got a bit bigger, she's 2.5 now, it meant that the night before I would think about something she could eat, because she wants to eat immediately, and getting the dogs upstairs and locking them up so they don't eat her food, so the dogs are a whole other thing. And then I would think about what she can have that's easy for me to do, so that while she's having that, I still have this peaceful start to the day where the focus is me having a cup of coffee. So yeah, often for her it meant, where it's a piece of, she goes through seasons. Sometimes she's happy with a yogurt in the morning. Sometimes she's happy with a banana. Sometimes she wants a heated up croissant. So I just kind of allow myself that space and time in the morning, and then it's on after that. That's what me time looks like at a bare minimum to me. But like I said before that, there were days where I couldn't have a shower. There were days where I couldn't brush my teeth. There were days amongst all that where this was impossible. Having that cup of tea with a newborn was impossible. So you just do what you can. Or some people say, I have a beautiful baby that's happy to sit and entertain themselves, but then they turn into a little walking or crawling or, menace, and then all that changes. So all that to say, have a little think about, for you, might not be the morning, it might be nap time if your kids nap. For you, it might be when they're in bed instead of doom scrolling. I'll give you another one. I've started doing this and it's been amazing. I bought a book it's a random book that I found, but what I was looking for more than anything, it's a book that weaves in, multiple life stories, but more than looking for a book to read, I was looking for a book with really short chapters, like 8 pages per chapter. That's how short they are. And what I do now when I go to bed, because I kept saying, I'm too tired to read. And now I'm like, but I can manage 8 pages. Actually, last night I didn't. Last night I managed 3 because I was that out of it. But most nights I now have a sleep tea, my sleep relaxing tea, and I read a book. Sometimes I get through 2 chapters. Sometimes, like I said, I don't even get through the one. But the goal is usually just to get through that one chapter. That's my me time. Sometimes it is putting Bub in the pram and going for a walk, and that's me time. So I think maybe the expectation of me time, and you can stretch this out, right? As they get older, you might book a monthly massage, or depending on your baby's needs and your own times, you might be a mama where your hubby does fly in, fly out work, and then the more luxurious, quote unquote, me time happens when he's back. But while he's not around, you have to find those little pockets of peace, or at least little pockets of grace. If you're somebody that's got your kid with you all the time, I feel like we just get pushed because we're looking for it the way that we used to have it. And you kind of go, what used to make me feel good? Oh, going to the beach by myself for an hour. Well, that may not happen for a long time. What is the next best thing? Can they listen to the Wiggles for a bit while I do feed myself or whatever? There's a great saying, it's when you can't do great things, you do little things in a great way. I'm going to say it again. When you can't do great things, you do little things in a great way. So it's kind of that whole idea of winding it back, making it small, as little as possible. Maybe you love painting, but we know for me anyway, I'm speaking for myself, for that creativity to strike, I need space. And in seasons of my life where I can't get solitude and space, I was on a weekend away for my birthday, and I got me and some of my girlfriends paint by colours, because I wanted to paint, but I knew I didn't have the capacity to just come up with a painting. But there it was, done for me, and that little painting is probably going to take 3 years to finish, but that's okay. When you can't do great things, do little things in a great way. That type of stuff, yeah? So what I want you to do, now that I've said all this, what I want you to do is do exactly what I did this week. I have had an instance of giving too much and being too available and catering to everyone else's needs. And as a result, I missed really, really important things that are actually priorities in my life. And that was kind of the wake-up call I needed. For you, might be getting sick. As you can probably hear, I'm a bit run down. That's also a really good sign that I've been doing too much for other people, not enough for myself. So we're all on this journey. See how it flows, it ebbs and flows. So what I did was I just got a piece of paper or my journal, and on the top of it I wrote the Happy and Healthy Mama Project. The Happy and Healthy Mama Project. And with that, I listed all the things that I would like to change, whether it was exercising every day, whether it was eating every nutritious meal, like dream big, girl. In this space, you just write it all down, having allocated time for my work, having all of those things, whatever it is that makes you happy and healthy. A happy and healthy mama might be, like I said, time alone. So for me, all that's important. And then what I did do was, I'm not forgetting about all of them, but I was just honing in one. What's the number one? So for example, what's the easiest one? And we're just going to prioritize them, right? 1, 2, 3, and only focus on the number one. For me, it's moving my body every day. I know that I can go for a walk every day, A, because I walk for work, and B, I know I can always chuck my girl in the pram when I need to and get outside, or have both of them on their bikes and scooters. So I know that I can move my body every day if I just make that a priority. And also I have sort of taken off the pressure of, I feel like this is the whole saying of when you can't do great things, do little things in a great way. How I was, I'm going to do this workout plan, I'm going to do this, and this, and wasn't happening. I wasn't able to do that anymore. Sometimes because I was too run down and exhausted, that I knew that if I was pushing myself more it would be worse. But then other times because it simply wasn't logistically available to me. I was home alone. How the hell am I going to do a workout? And I don't care what you see on social media, trying to work out at home with your kids. I mean, have a go. Your kids could be different to mine. My God. I set them up with snacks. I set them up with this. They're jumping on me. The dog. It's just chaos. Not enjoyable. Stresses me out even more. Hell no, strike through for me. Someone else might be fine with this. Like you might find that doesn't bother you. I can't stand it. I'm very, I'm a sensory person. Noise, too much noise, no good for me. Feeling too touched out, no good for me. So when I'm exercising, the whole point of me exercising is to get back into my body. So what I find that happens in my body, this is just how I react to being touched by my children 24/7. I start to disassociate, not in a, I don't know where I'm spaced out way, more in an avoidance way, right? So I try not to feel every tug and pull, and because it drives me mad, right? And like I said, I'm already a little bit heightened naturally. My baseline is a bit on the spectrum. So I already don't like being touched all the time. Generally not my thing. So having children, I actually was blessed with Velcro babies. Having them all over me all the time, I found one of my coping mechanisms. Often I embrace it and it's beautiful. I'm not talking about sitting on the lounge and them cuddling me and falling asleep on me. That's beautiful. I'm talking about the pulling and the jumping, and I have to say to them continuously, I'm not a playground. You can't do that with me. So this is mummy's space. They can understand that now. There's been plenty of times where they didn't, especially in that baby stage. And what I have found is that, especially in that baby stage, for me to kind of get back to me, I had to create a little bit of space at times. And I feel like I would somehow detach from my body. And what I would then do is every day, going for a walk or doing a stretch or a workout would bring me back to my body. So when I'm in that space of coming back to my body, when there's a child jumping on me, guess what it's doing again? It's making me angry and it's making me want to disassociate again. That's just me. You might function completely different. Like everybody has a different level of tolerance with everything in life. But for me, physical touch, I need my space. And when I've got time to myself, then I have so much of that to give. Like I love a hug. Nothing wrong with a hug. I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you're a mum, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the constant pulling and tugging and throwing and hitting, and all accidental, but still like having to, see, even now while I'm in my own space, I can get triggered by it. So this is why exercise for me is always number one, aka walking session. I hope you're walking while you're listening to this. That's why it's super important for me to do that for myself every single day. Nutrition, also important. I've also come up with a few things, and I go super boring. I eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch usually, and just have variety at dinner. When I'm in this space, I make it as easy as possible. It's the same smoothie, the same, just so I don't have to think about it. It's just super accessible and super easy. Anyway, that's my happy mama stuff. I also, what else have I done? Yeah, I've got boundaries with work. I've set up a thing so that things get blocked out. Anyway, I'm not going to give you all of those. If you've got ideas and suggestions, let me know. If you have gone out and done your happy and healthy mama project and come up with some things, let me know. If you listen to this and maybe you've remembered a few weeks later, let me know what's worked, what hasn't. And then, we can keep at it. All right, I'm going to leave that one there. I've got a few things on my happy mama list to do now, and this podcast was one of them, believe it or not. So here I am. I'm actually feeling very excited that I'm here and that I've done this. That's it. I'm leaving it there. You know where to find me. All the links are in the show notes. If you have questions or things that you would like to have covered, I've got a good amount here, but I'm always open to them because I like to sort of selfishly flick through what I'm vibing with, because then I feel like I can just deliver the best podcast in that way. All right, that's it. All done. See you next time. Bye-bye.